Matt Stepp, Dave Campbell's Texas football, back here at the Keller 7-on-7 state qualifying tournament. Here at the the new head coach of the Grapevine Mustangs, Coach Ryan Smith. Coach, appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with us while your kids are out here competing today.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate this whole platform. This is great.
Coach, first off, you're coming into a program at Grapevine that, there's no secret, you guys, they struggled last year. And so I like to ask coaches who take over at programs that didn't have as good of a year the year before, kind of how you handle that from when you're with the kids. Are you one of those guys who, hey, we look at last year, we should get mad about that. We should use that as motivation. And some guys are more like, hey, I'm going to look forward. We're not going to look at what happened last year. We can't fix that. That's over and done with. We're looking ahead to what we can control. How do you kind of balance those two things?
I think ultimately what you're trying to do is play forward. That's a term I've been using every day since we started. Play forward, play forward, play forward. And we're trying to get them to have that mentality. Our assistant coaches kind of know how I operate and how we're going to operate. And that's kind of our objective. And I think the bigger thing for us is just, understand those experiences, understand what you went through, understand all that. But how do you reframe those moments that revert you back to those experiences? And getting them to kind of mentally process differently and move forward in that is a big thing that we're trying to do. So we don't really hinge on it, but we evaluate it to see how we mental process belief and kind of identifying how we're going to respond to adversity.
You mentioned responding to adversity, and every football team in the course of a quarter, the course of a game, and the course of a season goes through adversity. And I think the great teams deal with the adversity and they deal with it in a way that they handle it in a way, and then the teams that don't do as well don't handle the adversity as well. But that takes time. It doesn't change overnight. Well, when your kids go through adversity, do you try to focus on those little things and say, hey, in that little moment, we could have done this better, that kind of thing? Is those little examples, and hopefully over time that narrative gets rewritten a little bit?
Yeah, what you want to do is get them to start thinking through, like, when I get to that moment, because this game is an exposure. It exposes shortcomings. It exposes faults. That's what I love about it. And it exposes guys that don't rally around each other. And getting them, when they get in the valley or when they get in that low place or they don't make that play, can they mentally process and move past that? And that's what we're trying to do. And we're trying to work really hard to get them to do that. And that's what what's great about SQTs and what's great about Lineman Challenge, all that. June helps us expedite that process and gets us into elements of competition, which kind of exposes some of our flaws and some of our processing, and gets us to kind of work forward from that. And it kind of speeds up the rebuild, if you will.
That next play mentality, right?
Yes.
It's the next play mentality.
Yes.
So looking back when you got the Grapevine job, and you had been at successful programs at the high school and the college level, when Grapevine opened up and you threw your name in the hat, what made Grapevine a good fit for Coach Smith and his family?
So I have 4 children. Christy and I are both educators. And the thing that we do is we have what we call the 5 F's of figuring it out, which is based on our faith. It's based on our family. It's based on, obviously, financial ramifications. It's based on what benefits our future. And then what aligns with the fire and the passion within inside of us. And this one Grapevine aligns with all those principles. It's a great place to raise a family, great community, great kids. And, there was so much alignment for me within who I wanted to be as a father and who I want to be as a head coach. And it really aligned with all of those 5 F's of figuring it out, which made it kind of a no-brainer for us. And we're very thankful for it and just excited about rebuilding it and kind of getting it going.
And you mentioned that, and part of that comes with, you're taking a new job, and for the first couple of months, it's like drinking from a fire hose. Yeah. You got so much going on. You're trying to move and get your living situation settled, because you were not in the Grapevine area last year, so you're trying to figure all that out. You're trying to learn kids and learn teachers in the building and learn who the administrators are, who your booster club is. Do you feel like now in June, have you had a chance to settle into a routine yet, or is it more going to be probably once school starts, you'll kind of be in a routine?
I think every day's a new day. I think we've kind of settled. And the biggest thing I'm trying to do is figure out how we systematically process things within Grapevine, whether that's through Dr. Fingers and our building administration, or whether that's at the central office with Coach Raymond and those guys, and be in alignment with them and figure out how we process through stuff. So it has slowed down a little bit. We're still trying to get family transition over. And, both of our younger kids who are still in school, they moved about spring break. So they've actually acclimated, and our older one's going to be a freshman. He's playing baseball in the freshman baseball summer league, and he's playing today. he's kind of getting acclimated, and our younger daughter, she's kind of getting plugged in with volleyball and different sports. You know, sports are the connector.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's huge for us, and we are able to slow down. And right now it's just relationships. Like, you're trying to build relationships with kids beyond the surface level.
Final question for you, looking on the field. Obviously, we know District 3, 5A Division 2, top to bottom, one of the toughest districts in the state of Texas, week in and week out at the grind. I want to ask you, being in a 9-team district, that presents a unique challenge as well, because you're playing games that count in middle of September.
Yes.
So does that expedite? Does that make that scrimmage? Are you doing one? Or I'm assuming you're doing 2 scrimmages this fall.
I've just got one.
You did spring ball.
Yeah.
So that one scrimmage, do you almost have to treat that one scrimmage a little bit differently because you only had the 2 non-district games? Because I'm assuming you got to evaluate guys and see who's going to be fit, because week 3 you're playing a game that counts.
Yes. So I think that's the biggest thing. The much game simulation as we can present helps them replace experiences and helps them replace, shortcomings, and, scoreboard's not favoring us. So the more game simulated we can be throughout even our practice structure and even that scrimmage, and feeling like it is close to a game simulation we can, is very important for us. We've got to figure out our quarterback situation. Somebody's kind of got to separate. We got 2 guys competing for it. Need one to really pull away and be that guy, whoever that is. And that everything hinges off that. That's the way the name, the way the game works.
There you go. Most important position on the field, right, Coach?
Yes, sir.
There you go. There he is, head coach Ryan Smith of the Grapevine Mustangs. Coach, appreciate your time. Good luck in 2025. And as always, we appreciate what you do for student athletes in the state of Texas.
Thanks, man.
Thanks,
appreciate
Coach.
it.
Appreciate it.